it feels like every other week, every other month, there's some kind of infighting amongst YouTubers. And I get it, but I also don't get it. Purely because I think YouTube is a gift. YouTube is an amazing platform. You can create videos on here, build a community, you can give so much to people, but in return, you get so much back as well. And personally, I feel as though there's a lot of ego that I guess fuels a lot of this infighting that we find amongst YouTubers. And I'm speaking specifically about the financial space here on YouTube because I've seen videos where other YouTubers are attacking each other. And it's one thing to attack the idea of what someone speaks about, but it's something completely different to attack the person. And I've seen a lot of that recently. And I think it's unfounded. I think it's unfounded. It's uncalled for. If you're going to challenge something, I think challenge the content of what someone is saying, the ideas they're talking about. The minute you start to get personal, for me personally, I think you start to lose the battle. And I think YouTubers with their egos are getting beyond that. They're not quite getting that point anymore. It becomes about who's right, who's wrong. And I do want to talk about this from the perspective of a creator, particularly in the finance space. And I think personally that as a viewer, there are a few things that you need to be aware of. First and foremost, if you're watching content here on YouTube, yes, there's a lot of individuals, there's a lot of opinion, there's a lot of viewpoints. And, different opinions are not a bad thing. If you're sat in a room with everyone agreeing, then it becomes an echo chamber for the same idea. New ideas are not going to surface. If everyone thought the same, you would never have the Elon Musk of this world, the Steve Jobs of this world, doing something different, disrupting, right? So you need different opinions. But the reason why I'm saying this is because when you're watching a YouTube channel, particularly in the finance space, you have to be aware of whether or not the channel that you're watching is espousing opinions or whether they're using factual facts, right? Data to make their point, or using facts or data to back up their opinion. There are a lot of people on this platform who just spew a load of stuff, and a lot of them are very conspiracy theory-esque things that you just believe innately as a human being, but the data or the facts may not necessarily support them. And because you're in your narrow vision of this is what you believe, you're not necessarily open to other persuasions or other arguments against what you believe. And I think that's really important. Case in point, Meet Kev and Chicken Genius Singapore, the interpretation of data. Data can be interpreted in a number of different ways, and there is nothing wrong with that. Again, you don't want to be in a room where all of the ideas are the same, particularly when you're looking at data around, what unemployment numbers say about an economy. You need different interpretations. Where I think it gets very, very tricky is when YouTubers in the finance space use their opinion and use data to influence. And look, I know I'm getting into sticky territory here because we influence. This is the function of what we do. But to actively influence the decisions, the financial decisions that their followers make. And BitBoy Crypto has fallen into this as well. Big accounts like that are influential exponentially, and yes, it's a good thing because you can do some real positive work, but you can have a really big negative impact. And where it comes undone, and maybe this is the case for the likes of Kev, BitBoy Crypto, and Chicken Genius, where it comes undone is when you have espoused opinion backed up by data that you found, where it's informed your financial decision, you've made that openly available. And even though you say it's not financial advice, inevitably your followers copy what you do. And suddenly when you have a change of heart, like Meet Kev did or Chicken Genius did, all of a sudden your followers feel as though you've derailed from what your mantra has always been. And this is where you get into really sticky territory. Now, there are instances where YouTubers need to keep other people accountable. I mean, especially when you start thinking about some of the under table dealings that happen all of the time. And that's one of the reasons why I love CoffeeZilla so much. His channel is absolutely phenomenal, and the detective work that he does to unearth some of these unscrupulous business deals that go underneath the table, where people are saying do this, but secretly they're doing something very, very different behind the scenes, and effectively manipulating, taking advantage of their followership, taking advantage of the influence that they have over their subscribers and the people who actually watch their video. And that's where it gets really, really sticky in this financial space. And in those instances, they need to be called out. You know, BitBoy Crypto, you know, I know the whole situation with Pamper, and I'm not going to go into that. Did he do something wrong? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Again, it's down to opinion. But for someone to say, look, you know, he's a scammer based on this is the evidence that I found, do not take financial advice. Well, I don't think that's a wrong thing for a Tozy to say. Maybe he could have worded the whole scammer bit a little bit like, guys, you got to be careful when you're watching this guy, not necessarily follow everything that he does. But one thing I'm seeing to be common here on YouTube at the moment is other financial influencers calling other ones scammers based on what exactly? And you've got to have a burden of proof, a burden of evidence behind those kind of accusations. And we talked about reputation. Reputation is really important in the business world. It's very, very important here on social media. You know, when you start slanging those kind of things around without evidence and without really having a burden of proof behind it, I can see why people will feel as though, actually, I'm going to sue you. But with that being said, I still feel as though there's a lot of ego behind it. You know, I'm a much, much bigger channel than you, so I'm going to intimidate you. I'm going to copyright strike you, so on and so on and so forth. You know, I think that because YouTube is such a brilliant place, and because you can gain so much and you can give so much, and let's not beat about the bush here, guys. If YouTubers tell you that this is not a business, they're lying to you. The only person that I could say probably hasn't really treated this as a business on the 4 influencers that I have on this thumbnail is probably Chicken Genius Singapore. He's never really taken any sponsorships or anything like that. He's, for what I could tell, he's doing it because he enjoys it, and that's what he likes to do. And it's a shame to see him go now from YouTube. I hope he comes back. But this is the toxic environment that is YouTube. You know, when you start thinking about, and I do want to speak about this because this is extremely important, particularly for you as viewers. If you are watching people here on YouTube, and there's a lot of exuberism, there's a lot of bravado, oftentimes disguised as, I want to help you, this is what I'm doing, you know, please be careful. You know, opinion is one thing, but taking financial advice from YouTube is a mistake. You should not be taking advice from anybody that you watch here on YouTube, including me. What I try to do is try and share knowledge and try and give you pros and cons, and try and paint when something might be good for you, when something isn't. Ultimately, that decision is yours to make. But when you have the likes of, you know, BitBoy Crypto, for example, you know, it is a business, and you have to understand that. And people will monetize their channels in different ways. Some people are very transparent about it. I monetize by working with brands. Some people will say that I'm bought and, you know, I'm compromised because of that. But for me, that's the model that works for me, so I can continue to make videos and make those free and available to people. It is a business. You need to be careful. You need to be discerning, and not necessarily copying your favorite YouTuber word for word based on their strategies, because that's what's worked for them. I can tell you right now with BitBoy Crypto, he earns what, £30,000 for a sponsorship plus other revenue streams that's come along. He is a millionaire in his own right. His investment strategy is not going to be the right strategy for you. It's the reason why it's called personal finance, because it is personal to individuals. It's personal to every single person. So when you're copying what a millionaire does, they're in a completely different financial landscape than you, so you need to be careful. And I guess that's where I want to leave it today. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you take from all of this, I guess, infighting that we see here on YouTube. Do you think it's ridiculous? Do you think it's just? I mean, like I said, I think we need to hold each other accountable. but how we do it is one thing. And some YouTubers like controversy. Some YouTubers use controversy to build their channels, and that's the sickest part of it all. These YouTubers will call other YouTubers out, saying that they're scammers and saying that you shouldn't trust them, when all the while they're attacking that person who is a bigger account to get followers to further their account, and God knows what they're doing in the background.